In this video, we are going to put a gambrel style roof on top of our garage with a loft. Now, even though I'm going to provide you with the framing information, I'm also going to provide you with some information at the end of the video that might provide you with a better way of building something like this. Now keep in mind that I am not a structural engineer, even though I do have a pretty good understanding about what might be required because of the time I have spent building and designing my own projects. So with that said, let's go ahead and remove the roof. And since I have already provided viewers with the information on how to get to this point here in a previous video in this series, I would suggest going and checking that out if you want more information about how we got to this point here. And another thing I will not be providing you with is step-by-step guidance on how to assemble a project like this. And as you guessed, the reason for that is because I already have a couple of videos on that. So feel free to go to the website and check out some of our roof framing videos, which should provide you with a way to figure out the height of the walls and the location, along with the roof rafters. And here we are going to be lapping the roof rafters here to create a stronger connection. And the rafters at the bottom will be shaped so that they will look something like this. And of course you can toe nail the rafters into the framing plates here. And then toe nail the rafters into the framing plates up here, along with using some 16D nails to fasten these two rafters together here. So maybe somewhere around 4 or 6 nails to fasten those rafters together. And then you can end nail the rafters here or toe nail them to the roof ridge. And on this side of the building, I went ahead and lapped the rafters and installed another board here to create a flat surface for the wall framing and provide you with another method of how this can be done. On the other side, I'm going to do something else. And I went ahead and extended the roof ridge 3/4 of an inch so that the breaks between the two pieces of fascia board will be nailing into the ridge. However, you might need to reshape the end of the fascia board here, depending upon what size fascia board you're going to be using. Next up, let's go ahead and install our blocks. And that will be a row of blocks on top of the wall framing here, along with the framing plates. And I would suggest shaping the top of them to match the roof rafters. And even though I didn't put it in the video, you might want to run another block over here and then fasten it to this block here so that you can get roof sheathing perimeter nailing at the break between the sheathing here and the sheathing here. And you might need a different saw to shape it here or to create a nice connection between the two different roof planes here. And of course the bottom blocks will need to be shaped also. And our roof rafters are spaced 16 inches on center. And now let's go ahead and take a look at how we finished off the rafters on this side, along with our exterior wall with our doorway in it. And of course we are going to be framing the roof a little different on this side, where the two rafters here will not be lapping like they are over here, to provide you with another way to finish this side of the building off. Next up, we are going to be installing a 1x4 around the perimeter edge of the gambrel style roof to provide us with an overhang that we will be able to slide our siding or stucco lath paper along with the netting and the finished stucco to provide us with a nice way to create a waterproof, or at the very least a water resistant transfer between the roofing and the wall finish. And on your project you might need to install a 2x4 here or even something larger, depending upon the type of finished material you're going to be using. And of course the 1x4 will go all the way around the perimeter, including the top of the ridge here that I mentioned earlier. And you can see here where you could have ran the 1x4 up and left the ridge even with the wall framing. However, I like to be able to nail the fascia board into the roof ridge here. However, if you do it the other way, the building probably isn't going to fall down, so don't worry about that. that. And as always, I will leave that decision up to you. Next up, let's go ahead and install our fascia board. And our fascia board is going to be 2x6. And the top of the fascia board will plane into or be even with the top of the roof rafters, so that our roof sheathing will be nice and flat. Next up, let's go ahead and take a tour of the fascia board here. Get an idea of what it looks like closer up and how the top of this board here is going to be angled to match the plane of the roof here, and even a 45-degree angle, something you can cut with a circular saw, might work just fine here. And of course you could always change the corner detail. And here you can see where the fascia board is sticking past a little bit, so we can slide our siding underneath into this slotted area along with our building paper. Next up, let's go ahead and install our roof sheathing. Now this might not work for you. You might need to bring the sheathing back a little bit depending upon how you're going to finish this area here. And you might be able to finish it with some roofing edge metal. And that edge metal would go all the way around the perimeter here. And this should give you a pretty good idea how the roof sheathing will work out. And we are using 4x8 sheets of either plywood or OSB. Now I wanted to point out that you might or might not be able to fudge the sheathing a little bit like I did here. I moved it 1/4 inch here, and then I pulled it back at the top a little bit so that I could get my perimeter nailing. So it would have been better if I had about 8 foot 3/4 inch, but like most of you, you're not going to be interested in purchasing more lumber when you might be able to reposition the sheathing just a little bit, or maybe even run a row of blocks down the center here so that the perimeter nailing of the roof sheathing will work. And that about wraps this roof up here. However, I'm not 100% sure that our previous example is going to provide us with a structurally sound building, where in this example it might work a little bit better because we're going to install a ridge beam. And yes, we're going to need to redistribute the weight for that ridge beam and even install a post somewhere in the center. So if you don't like the post in the center, then I would suggest contacting an engineer to see if they can provide you with a different design. Now here's the reason why I'm not 100% happy with this roof, and that's the fact that we have about a 53-degree angle here, whereas if you change this to a 45-degree angle or less, then you would be able to create a brace, something that would prevent this wall from moving in this direction, because the weight from the roof above might want to push this out, and the angle here might not be enough to prevent that from happening. However, something like this might, and I've seen this used before. Someone goes in and installs a brace like this. However, you might need a brace like this on every rafter or 4 foot on center, but I won't be able to provide you with that information. However, I can provide you with some information on how to attach the brace to the wall framing. And that will probably include having 2 16D nails toe-nailed through the brace into the wall framing plate, and a couple of end nails going into the wall framing studs. And on almost every project like this, someone usually has access to this area for storage or even maintenance. So I went ahead and framed out an access opening that might look something like this. So again, some type of a bracing system might solve your problem. And if you don't like the bracing idea, then I think the ridge beam will solve your problem. However, let's not forget that we are going to need to make some modifications to the floor framing, and that will include some type of a doubler or a beam that will transfer the weight of the post supporting the ridge through a post on each side and then down to the building foundation. And here's something that a lot of framing carpenters forget, and I've even done it myself, and that's to include some type of support blocks to transfer the weight a little bit better through the floor framing and then through the support posts in the lower wall. So another thing to consider when you are working on a project like this. And of course you will need to do that on the other side. And don't forget that if you don't like the post in this spot here, that you can relocate it. And basically you can move the post away from the center if you need to. And what this is going to do is probably going to change the size of the longer beam. So for example, if I move the post over here for some reason, and I had a 4x12 beam here, then I might need to put a 4x16 in this section here. Or if I wanted to get rid of the post, then I might need some type of a paralam or a glue lam in here to span the distance. So don't get sold on the idea that you do need a post in there. However, if we do move the post, let's not forget that we're going to need to move the support beam. And I'm sure that's something you're not going to forget about during the design or construction part of the project. And if you do go with a full-length beam and no post, then you might need a larger header. And you can see here how the weight from both sides of the header transfers down through the posts and to the building foundation. And just kind of get a close-up view of how I made the header work here. Header, we have a post supporting the beam and how it ties into the rafters here. And of course we could always extend the king stud up a little bit to get some nailing into the header. And we could always use some type of a strap to provide a better connection between the roof rafter, the beam, and the other roof rafter. And you could always angle a strap here or put a couple of straps in here to provide a better connection between the post and the header and the ridge beam, or even find other building hardware that will provide a better connection. And the last thing I want to mention is that you might need to install some type of a strap over the rafters and a roof sheathing, or you'll need to install some collar ties to prevent any uplift in the roof framing system. Next up, let's take a look at another design using roof trusses in this two-car garage construction example. I am not going to show you how to build the roof here, just show you what it would look like for those of you interested in building something like this, or should I say framing it. I'm not going to go over all the siding and the electrical and roofing either. So here we have a gambrel roof with a 24 and 12 pitch on the sides and then a 6 and 12 pitch at the top and a large open area to store stuff. Now, if you have something like this, you can create a barn if you want to. You can have doors on each side. You can have doors on one side. You can always fill these in with gable studs, both sides, and then cut an access hole in the center and even put a pull-down stairway in it also. And another thing you can do, if the truss manufacturer would allow it, will be to put additional floor sheathing on each side here for additional storage. And again, that would you need to check with the manufacturer to verify that. Keep in mind that this is just an example of the framing. I've seen this before and thought I would make one, but yours might look a little different depending upon the size of the garage. This is a 20-foot by 20-foot garage here. And let's go ahead and remove the floor sheathing. Like I said, you could cut an access hole into any one of these bays here, or if you needed a wider access hole, you could design it accordingly. Take a look at the fascia board going around. The bottom piece is going to be shaped here, and then these are going to have a 1x spacer behind it. Now you don't have to put the 1x spacer in there, but I like to put it in there because it gives me a place where I can put the sheathing underneath the fascia board to provide some type of an overlap so that the water won't get trapped behind the siding. And of course here you can see where I shaped the bottom of the fascia board. And we have our blocks in here. And this one here, I didn't miter this. You can always miter this joint if you wanted to get fancy. But here I just kind of lapped it over the edge of the fascia board. And of course you can see the 1x or 3/4 inch thick material that I have behind here. And again, like I said, you can slide your lap siding. You can slide your lath for your stucco paper, or the plywood for your siding, whatever you're going to be using on your garage. View of the framing there. We have blocking at each one of the breaks here to provide nailing for the roof sheathing perimeter, basically. The blocks here, and I think you're going to be able to get your diaphragm nailing by nailing into the fascia board and then nailing the fascia board into the blocking there. And then these blocks right here might need to be shaped at the top, but I don't have them shaped. They're nice and flat. You're still going to be able to get some nailing there. Ridge blocks, again for the diaphragm nailing, and the roof trusses are spaced 24 inches on center in this example. Row of blocks on the other side. Top view. Now let's go ahead and remove the walls below, give you an idea what it would look like from underneath. And you can kind of see here where we basically, what we have is a floor framed system where let's just say we have 2x12s at the bottom for our bottom cords. And it's just like a floor that's attached to the roof truss. You know, there are other ways to build this, and I will be providing you with more of them in future videos. And if for whatever reason I have not made another video within 6 months or a year, and you're looking forward to seeing it, or a different type, learning more about Gambrel roof framing, feel free to leave a comment in the comment area, or email me a picture of something that you might have seen. And I do have to point out that even though I'm not suggesting that this particular design will be used everywhere around the world, I can't say that. I can say, and this is just getting brutal, I'm starting to see some horrible stuff on YouTube, and you're going to have to watch out for that. If you go through a professional roof truss manufacturing company who actually provides engineering advice on the roof trusses, and your local planning department, building department approves this stuff, you're going to be fine. But if you just copy something off the internet and build it, you could be in for one painful experience. So I cannot tell you how many, I wouldn't be saying anything if I didn't go to these channels and read some of the comments and say, oh, this is awesome, I'm going to build something like this. Hey, if I was going to the channel and it said, man, this doesn't look safe, I'm not building it, I wouldn't say anything. But I'm not seeing that. I see a lot of people that are getting a little carried away, professionals that know what they're doing, that give you the illusion that they know what they're doing when they might not actually be providing you with good structural engineering information to build something that isn't going to fall down. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, let us know by hitting the thumbs up button or letting us know in the comment area.